There's a number on a routine blood test that most people, and many doctors, only think about if it screams gout. But even when it's just quietly elevated, it can be a sign of widespread metabolic dysfunction, and it can be seeding tiny crystals into your joints and tendons that drive persistent inflammatory pain. Let me show you what your uric acid is really telling you. I'm Dr. Padda. This episode is about uric acid, a marker that's far more important to chronic pain than its reputation suggests. Most people associate it only with gout, the dramatic big toe attack. But elevated uric acid, even short of gout, is both a window into your metabolism and an active contributor to pain. Hyperuricemia simply means elevated uric acid in your blood. Here's the first key point. Uric acid is one of the clearest markers of metabolic syndrome, the cluster of insulin resistance, abnormal fat, and metabolic dysfunction we've been discussing all series. Diets high in sugar, especially fructose, and high in processed food drive uric acid up. So when I see an elevated uric acid, even without gout, I read it as a flashing signal that the whole metabolic picture is off. The same dysfunction that drives pain through every mechanism we've explored. But uric acid isn't only a marker, it's an active troublemaker. Elevated uric acid promotes oxidative stress throughout the body, feeding the same cellular damage we've tracked across this series. And here's the part that's underappreciated. Even below the threshold of a classic gout attack, uric acid can form subclinical microcrystals, and the are tiny deposits in joint spaces and tendons. These microcrystals are intensely irritating to tissue. Your immune system treats them as foreign invaders and mounts an inflammatory response against them. The result is persistent, low-grade inflammatory pain in your joints and tendons that may never be dramatic enough to be labeled gout, but is very real and very capable of keeping you hurting. And it loops back on itself. Elevated uric acid doesn't just result from metabolic dysfunction. Research suggests it can also worsen it, contributing to insulin resistance and inflammation. So you have a marker that both reflects the problem and deepens it. For the person in chronic pain, this means an elevated uric acid is rarely an isolated finding. It's a thread that, when you pull it, leads straight back to the whole metabolic tangle we've been working to untangle. The evidence here is solid. Uric acid is firmly established as a marker of metabolic syndrome and is associated with insulin resistance and cardiovascular risk. The mechanism of uric acid crystals triggering inflammation is well understood. It's the basis of gout. And the concept of subclinical crystal deposition contributing to joint and tendon symptoms is increasingly recognized. This humble routine lab value carries far more information than it's usually given credit for. So, if your uric acid has ever come back a little high and been brushed aside because you don't have classic gout, I'd gently push back on that. A slightly elevated uric acid is a meaningful clue about your metabolism and about a potential source of inflammatory pain. It's the kind of small finding that, when actually investigated instead of dismissed, can open the door to understanding the bigger picture. Your blood work may have been trying to tell you something all along. So here's our approach. We treat an elevated uric acid as the valuable signal it is, and we address it at the root E, which means the same metabolic work that anchors this entire series. We target the dietary drivers, particularly the excess sugar and fructose from ultra-processed foods that send uric acid soaring. We reduce the insulin resistance that's tied up with it. As uric acid normalizes, the oxidative stress eases, the microcrystal irritation in your joints and tendons settles, and that low-grade inflammatory pain has a chance to resolve. One small number, read correctly, becomes a doorway into fixing the whole system. Sometimes the most overlooked number on your labs is the one pointing straight at the cause. If your pain has an inflammatory, achy quality and no one's connected the dots, let's read the whole picture. Go to painmd.tv and take the first step. I'm Dr. Padda. Your body has been leaving clues and we know how to read them.